Okay, we have an example today. This is not me patting myself on the back, but we have an example today of exactly what I warned you about a couple months ago when I did a story about populism versus social democracy. I did a story called Social Democracy is Being Destroyed by Populism. This was a little while ago. And I warned you about how the rhetoric of populism can sound very good. It can even sound like it's uniting left and right in favor of the middle class or whatever, but that the language can so easily be used to bamboozle and trick people. Trump used populist rhetoric in 2016. Trump tricked many on the right and some on the left with his populist rhetoric in 2016. And we are now seeing the repercussions of that in the current administration. So I have an example for you today from Tucker Carlson, which is exactly what I was warning about. There's more and more left wingers that are sort of sympathetic to Tucker Carlson, who's a Fox News propagandist, because Tucker has been increasingly using the language of populism, which sometimes sounds reasonable, to hide his horrible policy ideas. Sometimes Tucker, you turn it on, it sounds like a white nationalist show. And then sometimes you turn it on, like last night or the night before, and you hear Tucker using pretty uncontroversial populist language, which could be implemented with right-wing policy, or it could be implemented with left-wing policy. And he did it again this week. And there are people on the right, of course, but there's even leftists just gushing about, look at the common sense that we're hearing here from Tucker Carlson, and it's painful to see people fall for it. I warned you about this in my segment recently. Let's take a look at the clip.
Forget that in the end, the Republican Party exists to serve the interests of normal people, ordinary people. Middle-class families are the core of this country. They are our hope for the future, our only hope. And yet both parties have shamelessly abandoned them. Middle-class families have no national spokesman. They have no lobby in Washington. Republicans pretend to be their champion. You know by now that they are not. Instead of improving the lives of their voters, the party feeds them a steady diet of mindless symbolic victories, partisan junk food designed to make them feel full even as they waste away. Who cares how many Benghazi hearings we have? We're supposed to care. Why should we? How did Peter Strzok's text messages become more important than saving American jobs from foreign nationals who are taking them? It is lunacy. We fall for it every time. And to the extent this show has participated in it, we apologize with deepest sincerity.
So this is classic populist rhetoric that is very similar on the left and right. Federico Finkelstein from the New School is very, very good. He's one of the foremost experts on left versus right-wing populism. And we have looked at so many examples of rhetoric that is populist rhetoric, which sounds like it could be coming from a leftist or from a lunatic right-winger. The party, here Tucker is saying the Republican Party should be serving the middle class. You hear Democrats sometimes use similar rhetoric. We should be primarily serving the middle class. The middle class is the core of the country. Politicians should focus on improving the lives of voters. He even mentions, Tucker does, the silliness of Benghazi hearing after Benghazi hearing and Peter Strzok's texts. And it's true, that was nonsense. Jobs matter more. Like, he's saying things that are true. But he can't even suppress the right-wing xenophobia. He can't hold it back because he says, hey, we need the Republican Party to protect us from foreign nationals who have taken our jobs. And that's the bubbling up of that virulent anti-immigrant Tucker Carlson that we know, who has said immigrants make our country dirtier and poorer. And this is why the rise of populism on the left, at the exclusion of just a solid socially democratic set of ideas, is so dangerous. As I've said before, social democracy is less about rhetoric and it's more about a clear set of policy ideas, including how do we get healthcare for everybody, finance, education, how do we tax people, how do we do policing? There's so much policy in social democracy. When instead you start seeing populist rhetoric, it can come from the left and right, and it can sound pretty damn good with no regard to the policies that are actually being proposed. So to be clear, You can have populist rhetoric and socially democratic policy. Okay, well, I mean, that would be fine. But people like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon to some degree and others, they're great at using just the rhetoric to pull people in to what in the end, at the other side of, at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, is a terrible set of policy ideas. And Tucker couldn't even hide his dog whistle. It's 95% reasonable populist sounding rhetoric with foreign nationals, which basically means, hey, we've got to keep those Mexicans out, right? That's what's the policy prescription at the end of this. So you have to listen much more carefully because it sounds good. We also shouldn't underestimate the effect that Tucker's advertisers abandoning him might be having on his rhetoric. I don't know. That's another story which we've covered. Tucker's having major problems with advertisers because of some of the white nationalist type sounding rants. Maybe this is posturing for those purposes. I don't know. But the idea here is listen to all my populist sounding rhetoric, but my solutions are xenophobia to support the middle class, stop immigrants from coming in, so on and so forth. Someone said to me on Twitter, this is a shadow tactic. It sounds reasonable. You pull them in with the rhetoric, then you drop the seed of populism when you think no one is looking. And then it's, hey, you know what? You'd better vote for Republicans or Black Lives Matter is going to come and take your house, right? That's the bamboozle. That's the bait and switch that happens. In the end, this is a polished way to tell us Mexicans are stealing our jobs, Black Lives Matter is going to take your house, and we need to stop everybody. So don't fall for this stuff. Review that clip that I did about populism and social democracy, because this was there's no better example of this type of ruse that I warned you about 6 weeks ago or whenever I did that story than in this Tucker Carlson segment. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Pakman. Remember that you can get the entire show in our audio podcast form every single day. You can get it on whatever your favorite podcasting app is, whether it's iTunes or Podcatcher or whatever else, Spotify, etc. Get that daily audio podcast. Let me know what you think about this populism, social democracy ruse on Twitter, where you can find me at Pakman. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.